Imagine a world where your thoughts are crystal clear, where your actions are purposeful, and where your life is driven by pure intention. This world exists, my friends, and it is waiting for you on the other side of your emotions. I know what you are thinking. Wayne, are you telling me to become a robot? To suppress my feelings? No, my dear friends, that is not it at all. What I am inviting you to do is to transcend your emotions, to rise above the turbulent sea of feelings that often cloud our judgment and hinder our progress. You see, emotions are like weather patterns in the sky, your consciousness. They come, they go, they change. Sometimes they're stormy, sometimes they're calm, but you, the real you are not the weather. You are the sky. Vast, boundless, and always there, regardless of what's passing through. When I say shut down your emotions, I'm not advocating for their elimination. That would be like trying to stop the wind from blowing. What I am suggesting is a shift in perspective, a change in how you relate to your emotions. Think about it this way. Have you ever been caught in a rainstorm without an umbrella? You are soaked, uncomfortable, maybe even a little angry at the weather, but the rain is not personal. It is not out to get you. It is just doing what rain does. Your emotions are the same way. They are not personal. They are not you. They are just doing what emotions do. How do we shut down our emotions? We do not. We observe them, we acknowledge them, and then we choose our response. Imagine you are driving a car. Your emotions are like the radio playing in the background. Sometimes it is playing your favorite song and you are feeling great. Other times it is playing a sad melody and you feel down. But here's the key. Regardless of what's playing on the radio, you keep driving. You keep your eyes on the road, your hands on the wheel, moving forward towards your destination. That is what I mean by shutting down your emotions. It is about not letting them take the wheel. It is about maintaining your direction regardless of the emotional weather. Some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, is not it good to feel? Are not emotions what make us human? Absolutely. Emotions are a beautiful part of the human experience. They add color to our lives, depth to our relationships, but they were never meant to be in the driver's seat. Think of emotions as the fuel for your journey, not the GPS. They can provide energy, motivation, even inspiration, but they shouldn't be dictating the destination or the route. That is the job of your higher self, your intentional mind. Let me share a personal story with you. Years ago, I was struggling with a major decision in my career. I was torn between two paths, and my emotions were all over the place. One day, I'd be excited about one option. The next day, I'd be anxious about it. I was on an emotional roller coaster, and it was exhausting. Then one day I had an epiphany. I realized that I was letting my emotions make the decision for me. I was allowing my fears, my excitements, my anxieties to pull me back and forth. And in doing so, I wasn't really making a decision at all. I was just reacting. I decided to shut down my emotions, not suppress them, not ignore them, but to step back from them. I acknowledged how I felt, but I did not let those feelings dictate my choices. Instead, I focused on my values, my long-term goals, and what I truly wanted to contribute to the world. And you know what? Once I did that, the decision became clear. Not easy, mind you, but clear. I was able to choose a path not based on fleeting emotions, but on my deepest truths. This, my friends, is the power of shutting down your emotions. It is about creating space between stimulus and response. It is about choosing your actions based on your highest intentions, not your current feeling. I can hear some of you saying, that sounds great, Wayne. But how do we actually do this? How do we create this space? Well, I am glad you asked. Let me share with you some practical steps you can take to start shutting down your emotions and living from a place of greater intention. First, practice mindfulness. This is about becoming aware of your emotions without getting caught up in them. It is like watching clouds pass across the sky. You see them, you acknowledge them, but you do not become them. Start by taking a few minutes each day to simply sit and observe your thoughts and feelings. Do not judge them, do not try to change them. Just notice them. This simple practice can create a profound shift in how you relate to your emotions. Second, develop a pause button when you feel a strong emotion arising, especially one that might lead to a reaction you all regret. Pause. Take a deep breath. Count to 10 if you need to. This pause creates space between the emotion and your response. Ask yourself, is this emotion helpful right now? Is reacting based on this feeling aligned with who I want to be? If the answer is no, you have the power to choose a different response. Third, connect with your higher purpose. When you are clear about what truly matters to you, what you want to contribute to the world, it becomes easier to navigate the sea of emotions. Take some time to reflect on your values, your goals, your vision for your life. Write them down. Revisit them regularly. When you are faced with a decision or a challenging situation, refer back to these. Let them be your North Star, guiding you, regardless of the emotional weather. Fourth, practice emotional alchemy. This is about transforming the energy of your emotions into fuel for positive action. Are you feeling angry? Channel that energy into standing up for justice. Feeling sad? Use that depth of feeling to connect with others and offer compassion. Feeling afraid? Let that fear highlight what's truly important to you and motivate you to take action to protect it. Fifth, cultivate equanimity. This is the art of maintaining mental calmness and evenness of temper, especially in difficult situations. It is about developing a steady mind that is not easily swayed by the winds of emotion. One way to develop equanimity is through regular meditation. Another is by consciously practicing non-attachment to outcomes. Do your best, then let go of the results. This does not mean you do not care. It means you are not letting your happiness depend on things outside your control. 6, reframe your self-talk. The way we talk to ourselves has a profound impact on our emotional state. Often, we're our own worst critics, feeding negative emotions with negative self-talk. Start paying attention to your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, pause, take a breath. Then, consciously choose to speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement, the way you would to a dear friend. 7th, practice gratitude. Gratitude is like emotional kryptonite. It is almost impossible to feel negative emotions when you are genuinely grateful. Make it a daily habit to list 3 things you are grateful for. They do not have to be big things. Maybe it is the warmth of the sun on your face, a kind word from a stranger, or the taste of your morning coffee. The more you practice gratitude, the more naturally positive emotions will flow. 8th, engage in regular physical exercise. Our bodies and minds are intimately connected. Physical activity can be a powerful way to process and release emotions, leaving you with a clearer, calmer mind. Find a form of exercise you enjoy, whether it is running, yoga, dancing, or anything else that gets you moving. Make it a regular part of your routine. You all likely find that it becomes a form of moving meditation, helping you to shut down overwhelming emotions and connect with your deeper self. 9th, surround yourself with supportive people. The company we keep has a significant impact on our emotional state. Seek out relationships with people who uplift you, who encourage your growth, who support your highest vision for yourself. At the same time, be willing to set boundaries with people who consistently trigger negative emotions in you. This does not mean cutting people out of your life, but it might mean limiting your exposure or changing how you interact with them. 10th, and perhaps most importantly, practice self-compassion. Shutting down your emotions is not about being hard on yourself or denying your feelings. It is about loving yourself enough to choose your responses wisely. When you make mistakes, when you get caught up in emotional reactions, be gentle with yourself. Recognize that you are human, that you are learning and growing. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to a loved one. My friends, I want you to understand something crucial. This journey of shutting down your emotions, of living from a place of higher intention, it is not a destination. It is a practice. It is something you all work on every day for the rest of your life. There will be days when you nail it, when you feel like you are floating above the emotional fray, seeing everything with crystal clarity. And there will be days when you get sucked right back into the emotional whirlpool, reacting instead of responding. And you know what? That is okay. That is part of the journey. The key is to keep coming back to the practice, to keep choosing intention over reaction again and again and again. Remember, you are not trying to become an emotionless robot. You are learning to be the master of your emotions, not their slave. You are learning to use the incredible power of your feelings without being used by them. Imagine living this way. Imagine moving through your days with a sense of calm purpose, regardless of what's happening around you. Imagine facing challenges not with fear or anxiety, but with a steady resolve. Imagine connecting with others, not from a place of emotional need, but from a wellspring of inner abundance. This is the power of shutting down your emotions. This is the gift you give yourself when you choose to live from your highest self. I know some of you might be thinking, Wayne, this all sounds great, but my emotions feel so overwhelming sometimes. How can I possibly shut them down? I hear you. I have been there. We all have. But here's what I want you to remember. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness that experiences emotions. You are the vast sky that contains all weather. When you're feeling overwhelmed by emotion, try this. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, who is aware of these feelings? In that moment of questioning, You create a separation between yourself and your emotions. You remind yourself that you are the observer, not the observed. This simple practice can be revolutionary. It can be the difference between being swept away by a tidal wave of emotion and standing firm on the shore, watching the waves crash and recede. That often gets overlooked when we discuss emotions. The role of our physical bodies. You see, emotions are not just mental experiences. They have physical components too. When we're angry, our muscles tense. When we're anxious, our heart races. When we're sad, we might feel a heaviness in our chest. Recognizing these physical sensations can be a powerful tool in shutting down overwhelming emotions. When you notice these bodily responses, you can use them as early warning systems. They become opportunities to pause, to breathe, to choose your response before the emotion takes full hold. The next time you feel a strong emotion rising, scan your body. Notice where you feel it physically. Is there tension in your shoulders, a knot in your stomach? Once you've identified the physical sensation, breathe into it. Imagine sending your breath directly to that part of your body. As you exhale, imagine the tension, the emotion releasing. This practice not only helps you manage your emotions in the moment, but it also strengthens the connection between your mind and body. Over time, you all find yourself becoming more attuned to your emotional states, more able to catch them early and choose your response. The crucial aspect of shutting down your emotions, the power of perspective. Often, our emotions are triggered by how we interpret events, not by the events themselves. For example, imagine you are giving a presentation at work and you notice your boss checking their phone. If you interpret this as a sign that your boss is bored or unimpressed, you might feel anxious or discouraged. But what if you considered other possibilities? Maybe your boss just received an urgent message they needed to check. Maybe they are so engrossed in what you are saying that they wanted to make a note to follow up later. The point is, we often jump to emotional conclusions based on limited information. By practicing the art of considering multiple perspectives, we can short-circuit negative emotional reactions before they take hold. So next time you find yourself having a strong emotional reaction to something, pause. Ask yourself, what are 3 other ways I could interpret this situation? This simple exercise can create enough space for you to choose a response based on wisdom rather than reactivity. I want to touch on something that might seem counterintuitive when we are talking about shutting down emotions: the importance of emotional intelligence. You see, to effectively manage our emotions, we need to understand them. We need to be able to recognize what we are feeling, why we are feeling it, and how it is influencing our thoughts and behaviors. Developing emotional intelligence is like learning a new language, the language of your inner world. And just like learning any language, it takes practice. Start by expanding your emotional vocabulary. Instead of just saying you feel bad, try to pinpoint the specific emotion. Are you disappointed, frustrated? The more precisely you can name your emotions, the more power you have over them. It is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, what seemed scary and overwhelming becomes manageable. Another key aspect of emotional intelligence is understanding your emotional trigger. These are the situations, words, or actions that tend to provoke strong emotional responses in you. Maybe it is feeling ignored or being criticized or facing uncertainty. Once you identify your triggers, you can prepare for them. You can develop strategies to respond rather than react when these situations arise. This is a powerful way to shut down automatic emotional responses and choose more intentional ways of being. The role of creativity in managing our emotions. Often, when we're in the grip of strong feelings, our thinking becomes rigid. We see only one path forward, usually one dictated by the emotion we are feeling. But what if we could use our emotions as springboards for creativity? What if, instead of being limited by our feelings, we could use them as fuel for innovative thinking and problem solving? Here's an exercise to try. The next time you are feeling a strong emotion, particularly a challenging one like anger or fear, grab a pen and paper. Write down the emotion you are feeling at the top of the page. Then set a timer for 5 minutes and write down every idea that comes to mind about how you could respond to this situation. Do not judge or evaluate the ideas, just let them flow. You might be surprised at what emerges. Often, our most creative solutions come when we allow ourselves to think beyond our habitual emotional responses. I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about managing our emotions: the fear of becoming cold or unfeeling. Some people worry that if they learn to shut down their emotions, they'll lose their capacity for empathy, for deep connection with others. When we learn to manage our emotions effectively, we actually become more capable of genuine empathy and connection. Why? because we're no longer at the mercy of our own emotional reactions. We have the space, the calm, to truly listen to others, to be present with them in their joy and their pain. Like when you are caught up in your own emotional storm, how available are you really to others? But when you are centered, when you are in control of your emotional responses, you can be fully present. You can offer others the gift of your undivided attention, your calm presence. This is the paradox of shutting down your emotions. In learning to manage them, you actually become more emotionally available, more authentically connected to yourself and others. The role of purpose in managing our emotions. You see, when we have a clear sense of purpose, a vision of what we want to create in our lives and in the world, it becomes easier to put our emotions in perspective. When you are focused on a larger goal, when you are committed to something bigger than yourself, the daily emotional ups and downs start to feel less significant. They become like weather patterns passing through the sky of your consciousness, noticeable but not defining. I encourage you to spend some time clarifying your purpose. What do you want your life to stand for? What contribution do you want to make to the world? When you are clear on these big questions, you all find it easier to navigate the emotional terrain of daily life. Remember, my friends, emotions are energy in motion. They are meant to move through us, not get stuck. When we learn to shut them down, not by suppressing them, but by observing them, understanding them, and choosing our response, we free up an enormous amount of energy. Imagine what you could create in your life if you were not constantly at the mercy of your emotional reactions. Imagine the clarity you'd have, the focus, the sense of purpose. Not a life devoid of feeling, but a life where your feelings serve you rather than control you. A life where you are the author of your story, not just a character reacting to the plot. When we learn to shut down our emotions effectively, we are not dimming our light. We're allowing it to shine even brighter. We're freeing ourselves from the tyranny of knee-jerk reactions and opening up to a world of possibility. Think about the great leaders, innovators, and change-makers throughout history. What set them apart was not a lack of emotion, but their ability to channel their feelings into purposeful action. They felt deeply, but they did not let their feelings dictate their choices. They used their emotions as fuel for their vision, not as roadblocks. I want you to imagine yourself with this level of emotional mastery. Picture yourself facing a challenge that would have previously sent you into a tailspin of anxiety or anger. But now you pause, you breathe. You observe the emotion arising within you, but you do not become it. Instead, you ask yourself, what's the most effective way to respond here? What action aligns with my highest self? This, my friends, is true power. It is the power to choose your response in any situation, regardless of how you feel in the moment. It is the power to act from your deepest wisdom rather than your most reactive self. But let me be clear, this is not about becoming some kind of emotional superhero who never feels anything negative. That is not realistic, nor is it desirable. We're human beings, not machines, will always have a full range of emotions. The goal is not to eliminate our feelings, but to develop a new relationship with them. Think about it like this. Your emotions are like horses. Wow, powerful, sometimes unpredictable. Many people let these horses run wild, trampling their goals and relationships in the process. Others try to lock the horses away, denying their existence. But what we're talking about here is learning to be a skilled horseman. You acknowledge the power and beauty of these creatures, but you also learn to guide them, to harness their energy for a greater purpose. Now, someone might be thinking, Wayne, this all sounds great in theory, but my emotions feel so overwhelming. How can I possibly get to this level of mastery? I hear you. I have been there. We all start somewhere, and the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Some practical strategies you can start implementing today to begin shutting down your emotions and reclaiming your power. First, start with small moments. You do not have to tackle your biggest emotional challenges right away. Begin by practicing emotional awareness in low-stakes situations. Maybe it is feeling irritated when someone cuts you off in traffic or feeling impatient while waiting in line at the grocery store. Use these moments as opportunities to practice observing your emotions without immediately reacting to them. Second, develop a mantra or a touchstone phrase that you can use in emotionally charged moments. Something like, I am not my emotions, or I choose my response. Having a go-to phrase can help create that crucial pause between stimulus and response. Third, practice emotional distancing. When you are feeling a strong emotion, try describing it in the third person. Instead of I am angry, say there is anger present. This simple shift in language can help you step back from the emotion and see it more objectively. Fourth, use the power of questions. When you are in the grip of a strong, emotion. Ask yourself, is this emotion helping me or hurting me right now? What would my wisest self do in this situation? How important will this seem in a year from now? Questions like these can help shift your perspective and create space for a more intentional response. Fifth, develop a regular practice of self-reflection. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to review your emotional responses. What triggered you? How did you react? Were you able to create space between your emotions and your actions? What would you like to do differently next time? This kind of reflection can accelerate your growth and help you become more aware of your emotional pattern. Sixth, learn to embrace discomfort. Often, we react emotionally because we are trying to avoid uncomfortable feelings. But if you can learn to sit with discomfort, to breathe through it without immediately trying to change it or escape from it, you all find that you have much more control over your responses. Seventh, practice radical acceptance. This does not mean you have to like everything that happens, but it means accepting reality as it is, rather than fighting against it. When we resist what is, we create additional suffering for ourselves. Acceptance does not mean inaction. It means seeing clearly so we can respond effectively. Eighth, cultivate a growth mindset when it comes to your emotions. Instead of beating yourself up when you get caught in an emotional reaction, view it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Each emotional challenge is a chance to practice your skills and become more emotionally intelligent. Ninth, use visualization techniques. Imagine yourself handling emotionally challenging situations with grace and wisdom. The more vividly you can picture yourself responding the way you want to, the more likely you are to do so when the situation actually arises. 10th, practice compassion, both for yourself and others. Recognize that everyone is dealing with their own emotional challenges. When you can view your own and others' emotional reactions with compassion, it becomes easier to respond wisely rather than react defensively. Remember, my friends, shutting down your emotions is not about becoming cold or unfeeling. It is about developing a new level of emotional maturity and wisdom. It is about learning to use your emotions as valuable information and energy rather than letting them use you. Imagine a life where you are no longer at the mercy of every emotional wind that blows. Imagine facing life's challenges with a steady mind and an open heart. Imagine being able to choose your responses based on your deepest values and highest aspirations rather than your momentary feelings. This is the promise of emotional mastery. This is the gift you give yourself when you learn to shut down your emotions effectively. It is not always easy, but I promise you, it is worth it. Every step you take on this journey is a step towards greater freedom, greater peace, and greater power to create the life you truly want. I challenge you starting today to begin this practice. Start small. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress. And remember, you are not trying to eliminate your emotions. You are learning to lead them, to channel them, to use them as the powerful force for good that you have within you, everything you need to master your emotions. You have the awareness, the intelligence, the strength. All you need now is the commitment to practice, to keep showing up, to keep choosing wisdom over reactivity, again and again and again. And as you do, you all find yourself transforming. You all find yourself becoming more of who you truly are, more of who you are meant to be. You all find yourself living with greater purpose, greater peace, and greater power to make a positive difference in the world. This, my friends, is the true power of shutting down your emotions. It is not about shutting down at all. It is about opening up to your highest potential, your deepest wisdom, your most authentic self. Go forth with courage. Embrace this journey of emotional mastery. Trust in your ability to grow, to learn, to transform. And remember, every moment is a new opportunity to choose your response, to choose your focus, to choose who you want to be. You are not your emotions. You are the vast, boundless awareness that experiences them. You are the sky that contains all weather. And as you learn to embody this truth more and more fully, you all find yourself living with a level of freedom, power, and purpose that you may have never thought possible. This is your birthright. This is your potential. This is the gift that awaits you on the other side of emotional mastery. Embrace it, live it, be it, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined possible. Remember, my friends, the power is within you. The choice is yours, and the time is now. Step into your power, embrace your potential, and let your light shine unobscured by the clouds of unchecked emotion, bright and clear for all the world to see. This is your moment. This is your life. Make it extraordinary. As we stand on the precipice of transformation, I challenge you to take the leap. Dive headfirst into the ocean of your consciousness, navigate the currents of your emotions, and emerge as the master of your inner world. The journey won't always be easy, but I promise you, it will be the most rewarding adventure of your life. Remember, every moment presents a choice to react or respond, to be governed by your emotions or to govern them. In each of these moments lies the seed of your future self. Will you nurture that seed with the waters of wisdom, or let it wither in the drought of reactivity? The power is in your hands, my friends. Use it wisely. Use it courageously. Use it transformatively. As you leave here today, carry with you this fundamental truth. You are not your emotions. You are the architect of your reality. Your feelings are the colors on your palette, but you are the artist who chooses how to apply them to the canvas of your life. Paint boldly. Paint with purpose. Paint with the full spectrum of your emotional intelligence. Let today be the day you declare your emotional independence. Let it be the day you stop being a passenger in your own life and take the wheel with both hands. Feel the exhilaration of true freedom. Not freedom from emotions, but freedom to choose how you engage with them, how you channel them, how you transmute them into fuel for your highest aspiration. Go forth now, armed with the tools of emotional mastery, and reshape your world. Let your newfound clarity guide your actions. Let your inner peace radiate outward. Let your purposeful choices inspire others. For when you master your emotions, you do not just change your life. You change the world around you. This is your moment. Seize it, own it, live it. The power is yours, now and always.